wanted to use really short.
This is Nat Nasworth with the Christian Post. I'm here with Senator Mary Landrieu, who has been working on legislation to deal with problems with orphan care internationally. And so before we talk about your bill, for those who are unfamiliar with the situation, what are some of the problems taking place that you're seeking to address?
Well, first of all, Nap, we know there's so many wonderful people involved in finding permanent homes for children all over the world, and I just want to thank everybody for the work that they do. It's so important that families and parents raise children. Governments do a lot of things well, but raising kids isn't one of them. So we believe, many of us, Democrats and Republicans in Congress, that it's time to make that very clear. So I've introduced a bill that says children and families first, to try to help the State Department, good people but not organized, properly, to reorganize themselves, refocus with kind of a new authorization to say when you're working with other countries, your first priority should be to keep kids and families, and if they're without a family, to find them one. And so that is really the purpose of our bill, and the problem is, that's not being done right now. That's the challenge. It's just not being done, and our bill will, I think, make that happen.
And you said you have supporters who are on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats?
Yes, that's the wonderful thing about this issue. Washington can fight a lot about a lot of things, but really this subject is not one that's, fought over or about. There's a broad coalition of Republicans, very conservative Republicans, very liberal Democrats that have come together. Senator Blunt and I are leading the effort on the Senate side. He's a very conservative Republican. We're leading the effort on the Senate side. There's a similar coalition in the House with Representative Trent Franks, who's a phenomenal Christian leader. And we've put a bill in that's basically going to reorganize a part of the State Department, redirect some of the billions of dollars that we already spend, no additional funding, to get the State Department to create a special office whose whole mission for diplomacy and policy advocacy will be to work with international partners, governments, nonprofit, anyone that wants to be in a partnership to help kids stay in families and to make that human connection, one adult or two adults to every child.
And so I hear it's difficult to get things passed through Congress these days.
Yes.
What are the chances that this bill will come for a vote this Congress?
Well, the chances get better and better the more people call their congressman and say, listen, what is wrong with this bill not moving quickly through? It's got to move through the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate and the House. Bob Menendez and the senator from Tennessee, Bob Corker, are the two leaders. And so any connections to their offices to say, this bill makes so much sense, children and families first, what could possibly, be wrong with that? We would like to move it. It's just the agendas get crowded with all sorts of things. There are important bills like this one that have very high-paid lobbyists. There are no high-paid lobbyists supporting this bill. It's just a wonderful group of grassroots individuals across the country doing everything that we can with the members of Congress, including myself, to get this done. And I just think people, if they could just, the chances of passing it are much better if people will call their congressman, ask them to co-sponsor the bill, and then make efforts to connect to the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate, particularly Bob Menendez and Bob Corker, and say, we want you to move this bill through your committee. We're going to try to move it through this summer.
And so there are a number of organizations who support this bill, who are on June 3rd, they're going to have a tweet-up day in support of your bill, #SupportSchiff. A number of these organizations are Christian organizations, such as Focus on the Family, the Southern Baptist Convention. So what do you think about using social media like that? Do you think that this is going to help build support for your legislation?
Well, I think it's literally the only way we're going to pass this bill is if the Christian community and the faith-based community will contact their members of Congress, tweet up so that it gets Congress's attention to say, what could be more right or more fundamental than a bill? You don't even think you should pass a bill to have to say this. In America, we do this, naturally. although our public systems sometimes and private partnerships get locked down a little bit and don't function as well as they should. But internationally, people would be surprised to know that this is not the United States policy right now when it comes to helping other countries. And I think Americans would be upset to know that. So that's what this bill does. It makes it very clear that it is the policy of the United States with the State Department that has many other policies that children belong in families. Now, with children being in good orphan care, that's terrific. With orphanages, when that's, the final, the last opportunity. But we want to recognize quality care between adults and parents and children, moving every child into as family-like setting as possible, recognizing the good work that churches do all over the world. So this will strengthen that partnership between the State Department, getting them to work for us, not against us.
Senator Landrieu, thank you so much for speaking to us today about your legislation.
Thank you so much.
And thank you.